So now that we have the ability to distribute a different number of points between a given range to every single bench on every row, every column, let's go ahead and turn our attention to a parameter that will allow an artist to specify if there is a possibility that empty seats can exist, meaning that some of these benches might not have any characters on them. And for us to do this, we're going to start out by creating a custom parameter. So let's go ahead and scroll down. A custom parameter for the artist called empty seats, and it's going to be a toggle. So let me just draw this out. So here we are, little checkbox toggle, and it's going to be called empty seats and toggle, TGL. So we'll just say that's its name. When checked, it's going to be a value of 1. When not checked, it's going to be a value of 0. That's going to be very important because we're about to use this number. Now, right now, let's keep in mind what's going on with our expression all the way back up here with this guy. Let's start out first by looking at our 2 plus 1, and then we had plus, and then the gigantic expression from there. And I'll just simplify it with that right there. Why did we have 2 in there? We've got 2 points that need to be deleted out, so we have a 2. The 1 was used for shifting and for fairness, etc., in the number of points that were generated. Now, if we were to take this number and go 1 less, because let's think about it. What's the smallest number that can come out of this entire expression? 1. Okay, so right now, let's say that we allowed 5 balls to be placed on any bench. That's the maximum number. We would end up with an output of this expression of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And everybody has a fair opportunity of being chosen by the expression, by the random to be more specific. If we were to take 1 away from just these guys right here, what would happen? It would shift all of our numbers. Our numbers would actually drop down to 0 because we've shifted everything. So right now we're saying 2 plus 1. What if we just said 2 plus 1 minus 1? Okay, so that would be 3 minus 1. It would only be 2. Now that would put us in an interesting situation, though, because all of our numbers are going to shift. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, so it's helped us out because now we can hit 0,
so
but
this
it's
has
hindered
helped
us as well.
This has hurt us. So as we go through the expression, from time to time, we will come up with a 0. And if we have 0 points, we're not going to have any points to copy a ball to. But we can never hit our maximum balls per bench. So now we need to extend our range to include one more number. Well, first of all, let's address this 2 plus 1. The 2 plus 1 in the expression itself can be very simply adjusted by saying 3, and then with that 3 we'll simply subtract off our empty seats toggle. So I shall call that, for simplicity, empty seats TGL.
And that works awesomely because when we want empty seats, our toggle has a value of 1. But when we don't want empty seats, we leave that 3 alone. He's as he was in the previous video.
Notice how I am drawing arrows as Steve talks about
Fantastic.
the 2 different areas.
Thank you very much.
So, check. We want empty seats. A value of 1 is now being used right here. So 3 minus 1 gives us 2. And we just said with that 2, all of our numbers shift. And because of the shift, our low number is 0. So now we have a possibility of having empty seats. How do we extend our range now? This is very simple. Remember, the range is being controlled, the heart of it, by the maximum balls per bench. What if we simply update this part of the expression to take into account our toggle by adding it to the maximum balls per bench? So if we were allowing 5 balls per bench, let's allow 6. And that's going to be very convenient because of our number shift right here. We're actually maximum balls per bench minus 1. So what if we do plus 1? So I'm not going to rewrite out the entire thing. So all we're addressing is this little area right here. So I'm going to put a parentheses around these 2 guys and then drag that all the way down to here.
Cool.
So parentheses, maximum balls per bench plus our empty seats toggle.
And again, this works out great for us because when a toggle is checked, we add 1, which is what we need to extend our range. But when it's unchecked and we don't want to allow empty seats, our expression is exactly the same as it was before.
Yeah, so it's very convenient. These two guys are working to keep balance throughout the expression. Anything else you want to add to that, Steve?
That's absolutely everything.
By adding that plus, now up here, this number with everything unaffected had us with a maximum balls per bench of 5. Now down here, 5, but the numbers only go into 4. But if we say plus 1, then comma 5 needs to be added into this range. And so that accounts for every possibility we need. And once again, everything has a fair chance of being selected. Okay. So with that, I guess we can go ahead and jump over into Houdini and put this together real quick.
So now that we're over in Houdini, let's create our toggle. And with our toggle in place, we can come up and we can alter our points expression.
Sounds good. So
I'm going to right-click on our asset and come down to Type Properties. And inside our Audience folder, I'm going to create a new toggle parameter. So let's grab a new toggle and drop that into our Audience folder. And this guy is going to be named Empty Seats TGL. I'm going to give it the label Empty Seats. And with that in place, we can accept. If I bring up our parameters, we have this toggle that allows us to allow empty seats and disallow empty seats.
It has a value of 0 and 1.
Yeah, so 0 when we don't want empty seats, when we want this situation here to occur. A value of 1 when we want to allow the possibility of having no points. Yeah. Fantastic. So I'm going to bring up our points expression, so Alt-E to bring up the expression editor. And the first part we saw, we need to subtract that toggle from our 3 value. So we've got 3 minus, let's grab our empty seats TGL. That's going to allow us to hit, let's bring up the arrow, hit the 0 in our range, but as we've seen, it shifted everybody, so we now need to take into account basically increasing our range by 1.
Right.
And we saw how to do that. We simply add our toggle to our maximum balls per bench. So here's our max balls per bench. I do need to put this into parentheses. And inside those parentheses, we take our max balls per bench and add to that our toggle. So empty seats TG.
So when that toggle's checked, we'll add 1 to the maximum number of balls that can be on any bench.
Exactly.
And when it's not checked, we don't affect anything because it's 0.
Fantastic. So I'm going to accept. With that in place.
I see empty seats.
Me too. Here's an empty seat. Here's an empty seat. And here. Fantastic. And also, notice, let's bring up our parameters. Max balls per bench is 4. This guy has 4. And this guy has 4, even though we've got 0. So we're accounting both for allowing for empty seats and making sure we can hit that upper bound as well. Let's disallow empty seats.
Ooh, nice.
No empty seats, but you'll notice there's nowhere where we're hitting 5 because we basically don't add 1 when this guy is turned off.
And if we don't like the seed, let's change it. All right.
Let's allow empty seats as well. So yeah, here and here.
So changing that seed will change around the empty seats as well.
Yep.
Fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that is going to wrap up this video. Thanks a lot.